Hey guys, Sean Dexter here from Skip MBA, and today we got a question on how to read faster and retain more information. And I'm going to answer that question for you guys. Alright, so we got a letter here from CJ. CJ says, "Hey Sean, thank you for the breakdown. That was an informative read. I noticed that at the end of each of your emails, you recommend further readings based on the books you have read. I also see that you have a reading list on the Skip MBA website. These are a lot of books to keep up with. I've been trying to keep up with my readings, but I keep failing and this is beginning to frustrate me. I set goals, but I never seem to hit them. It feels like I read too slow and I struggle with retaining the information. I try to take notes, but that slows me down even further. It gets depressing and I quit after a few weeks or months before I try again. Do you have any tips and tricks to improve reading speed and retention? I want to break out of this loop and I feel like increasing my speed might be the key. Best, CJ." Let me tell you that I have felt your pain and I've felt your frustration. For those of you at home watching who don't know, when I started this journey around 5 months ago, I said to myself, I'm going to read at least one book a week, no matter what. And it didn't pan out that way, not in the beginning at least. I tried to get through one book a week and I didn't. It was slow, it was frustrating, I almost quit. But now today, here I am sitting at a book and a half a week. A lot of times I finish 2 books, more than 2 books a week, and it feels good. But there was a learning curve to that. There was a process that you had to follow. And a lot of people message me, emailing me, asking for techniques and tips on how to read faster and retain more information while they're reading faster. And I think that's the wrong way to go about doing it. Increasing your speed isn't really the problem. That's like a problem you want to deal with after. And you'll notice that it's not really a problem you'll ever really care about. The real problem is something deeper. It's more of a mindset issue. That's what I want to talk about in this video. This video I'm going to give you guys tips on how to solve the initial hurdle to just get started. Alright, tip number 1. Stop giving a rat's ass about your reading speed. Seriously, just stop. Way too many people care about this and it honestly doesn't matter. What you should be focusing on is building the habit of reading. So set aside every day 1 hour to read. No matter what, alright? It doesn't matter even if you daydream a little bit through those hours, or even for most of that hour, just set aside that 1 hour and read. Read for that hour and try and do that every single day. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to read 50 pages a day. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to read 100 pages a day, because you're going to set yourself up for failure, okay? You're going to feel shitty if you don't get through the 100 pages. You're going to feel bad about yourself because every book is different. Some books are complex, some books are not. So you want to first break through the hurdle of spending the time on reading. And that's the struggle we all have. It's not our reading speed, it's not our retention. The biggest hurdle to start off with is spending the time. And that's how I started, I said to myself, I'm going to read at 10 a.m. no matter what. So on weekends too, I'd wake up, even though I was out late the previous night, I'd wake up at 10, I'd read for an hour, and then I'd go back to sleep. And I did this consistently for at least a month or 2 months before I just broke through that barrier where reading or picking up a book during my daily routine was such a struggle. So that's the first and most important tip. Focus on building the habit, and once you build some momentum, you'll notice yourself get faster anyways. Alright, tip number 2. Reduce the barrier to entry. Now, what do I mean by this? Basically, like I said before, the biggest struggle most of us have is just starting. So what you want to do is reduce that friction to start. We'll do whatever it takes to procrastinate. Honestly, we'll come up with the shittiest excuses just to not do something that makes us feel uncomfortable or something we're struggling to do. So what you want to do is basically make reading more accessible to you. Make the activity of reading easier. So what's the first thing you do in the morning? Do you go onto your couch and turn on the TV? Well, instead of having the control on your couch, put a book there. Put a freaking book in your fridge if you have to. Something that I do is I'll keep my Kobo or whatever e-reader I have at the time in the washroom. So that way, every morning, I'll get in at least 10 minutes of reading for sure. Next, Stop giving a rat's ass about retention. Listen, if you're trying to read a book so that you can regurgitate an entire chapter to a friend, then you're setting yourself up for failure. While some people take speed reading to another extreme, other people take retention to another extreme. And unless you have an eidetic memory, you're not going to get anywhere. Reading is about knowledge acquisition, and you read to be able to form mental models in your head. For those of you who don't know, mental models are essentially ideas or concepts of how certain things in the world works. So when you read, you want to be able to form new mental models or correct the mental models you currently have. That's what reading is about. It's not about being able to memorize every single thing or every single word in the book. It's about to form ideas, new ideas, and recall them when you need it. And you notice that when you do read a lot of books, the authors repeat their information, not just within their books, but authors have the same information across different books. And all that redundancy and repetition is going to drive the point into your head. So don't focus on the retention, focus on just building the habit again and get through one book after another, after another. That's kind of why I read most of my books cover to cover. You know, people say they just skim through books and they read the most important parts of each book. That's great if you're trying to learn something specifically. But if you're actually trying to acquire knowledge in a more broader perspective, you just want to get through the information, and over time, the most important information will be the most redundant information, and that will stick. So yeah, stop focusing too much on your retention and just start focusing on getting through books or getting through reading material. Tip number 4, challenge yourself. Read material that will make you struggle. This is one of the reasons why I ask people not to focus on speed. In fact, it's a reason why you should never emphasize on speed. One of the reasons people read faster than you or even me is because they have a firmer grip on the concepts, the sentence structure, and the vocabulary of the book that you're reading. And the only way for you to have a firmer grip is to read those kind of books and challenge yourself. Now, when you're reading a new concept or hard concept, you're going to find yourself stopping and rereading that sentence. And that's called regression. Regression is really, really important to strengthen concepts and strengthen mental models in your head. When you come across that concept again in a future book, you'll go through it faster. You know, you'll find yourself skimming because you know that definition, you know that concept, you know what the author's talking about, which is why don't focus too much on your speed at the moment. Focus on challenging yourself as much as you can without tiring yourself, so that in the future, you'll automatically be faster. If you keep reading the same easy material, you'll stay the same speed. And by the way, speed reading is BS. Don't fall for that crap. You can't be speed reading if you're trying to challenge yourself. You need regression. You need to stop. Reread the sentence over and over again. I mean, try speed reading a book like this. You can't. Or even a book like this. Yeah, there's some books that you can skim and go through really, really fast. But the books that you want to read are probably books that you want to really learn from and challenge yourself with so that in the future, you have an easier time. The other day, I picked up a book on machine learning and I was able to get through it pretty fast because I have a background in it. I'm familiar with the concepts. But a few months ago, I picked up a book on financial intelligence and I knew nothing. I had no background in that. And it took me some time to, stop, reread the page, reread the paragraph over and over again to understand the concepts before I could speed up later into the book. All right, so those are the 4 tips I have for you guys. 1, stop caring about your reading speed. 2, reduce the barrier to entry, reduce your friction. 3, stop caring about your retention speed. And 4, challenge yourself. That's pretty much it. You'll be surprised at how far you can get with just these 4 tips. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Seriously, please keep the emails coming in. CJ, thank you for your email as well. If you like this video, throw us a like below. And since you got this far into the video, you might as well subscribe to the channel. We'll have great content coming in regularly. The videos will be improving. I promise they won't be as shitty as this one. So yeah, throw us a like, throw us a subscribe, and we'll be coming back at you with more content. Thank you for watching Skip MBA.